I am a difference maker.
Imagine all the people.
I am a difference maker.
Hello, difference makers, from Ivan, Trevor, and Leigh this morning from Wisdoms 123. We're chatting difference makers. We're chatting the Wisdoms 1000-year manifesto. Yeah, that might seem like an absolutely huge goal, big, hairy, audacious goal, as some might say. We think it's bigger than that. But we'd love you to be part of it. So, Leigh, how do people get involved? What's the next step in the manifesto that we're going to chat about?
Yeah, I think it's the manifesto describes this as applying your talents, gifts, and resources for the doing of good. And it reminds me of the principle in our attitude program where we talk about good for nothing, being good for nothing. And you know, we have had that phrase placed in our minds in one way or another, or we have generated that feeling about ourselves, and we've spoken about before is, you know, what am I good for? Or, you know, somebody's told you you're no good at that. And it's affected our self-esteem, it's affected our image of who we see we are and what we think we're capable of. But if you flip it, which is a wisdom's principle, if you flip it and think about it as doing good for nothing, you know, now suddenly I have resources within me. I've got time, I've got skills, I've got abilities, I've got people, I've got a community, and I've got ideas. And all of these things create an incredible, are just the, you know, the ingredients for a recipe that can be baked and made into something extraordinarily wonderful.
Trevor, what are you baking on that?
I'm baking on that because it's quite amazing how people can have different thoughts stimulated by each one of these lines in the manifesto. Leigh was going down her perspective of good. As Leigh was talking, I was looking at the opposite. We get so inundated by so much bad news, people doing bad things, that it almost seems that the world is made up of crooks, criminals, corrupt, I'm going to call them politicians, because they seem to be linked together, that there's just this concept of so much bad and evil in the world. Wouldn't it be great for us to actually be discussing and conversing between people in every city in the world about the application of our unique talents, our gifts and resources for the doing of good, and for us to be discussing what is our definition of good, as opposed to that gets thrown into our minds through the mass media publications because they make money out of bad. That's headline news. And maybe this is the way you talked of flipping it. That we're flipping this over the next 1,000 years into the good news broadcasts and conversations that we can be having from city to city. So very exciting for me, the way that people can have their own interpretations in each one of these lines, and we can cross-pollinate those interpretations to bring something out that's completely new.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's one of the key principles of Wisdoms, once again, is we're not trying to tell you what to think, we're trying to challenge you to think with the resources and ideas and the conversations that we're having here. And if you'd love to think about this, and even better, do something about it, we'd love to see you as part of doing good for the next 1,000 years around the world, as a collective, as an individual, but part of the process. Join us for the conversation. Get engaged and take some action. So we'll chat more about that next time. See you soon.
I am a difference maker.
Imagine all the people.
I am a difference maker.